Hello, and welcome to episode 4 of High Value Hustling. And today we'll be talking about a framework for your future and how to build that and what does that look like. Aiden and I both like to start whenever we're trying to build a framework for a future by using it's called the SMART goal, and each letter of that is broken out. So the S stands for SMART, the M stands for a measurable goal. The A stands for an attainable goal. The R is a relatable goal, and and the T is what timeline is this going to be measured in.
And so like this is super. It's not necessarily the most important thing you can have, but it is definitely a very important tool for you to add for your toolbox. So it will start to shape your mind in the understanding of what do you want to do, like how are you going to achieve that thing, and then what are you going to do. Like okay, like let's break down the letters, right? So like smart goal, right? The first one, S, smart. Like that seems stupid. That's smart, but it's like, is this a realistic thing? Is this a smart thing for you? Like when people go and they interview for jobs, okay. So I've interviewed several people for my store at my Chick-fil-A, and one of the biggest things that when I want to ask somebody is I want to ask them, I was like, why do you want to work for us? Now this is a smart question because you can very quickly find out if they're just here for money or if they're just here because it's the closest thing to them is their convenience. You know what I mean? But if they're like, oh, I love your guys' like company passion. I like that you guys like do this and do that. Like that's okay. But when they're like, hey, I come to the drive-thru every single day and these people look like they love their lives, right? I see the community that they have when I come inside. I see the way you guys communicate, how everyone's always happy and smiling, and I want what you guys have, right? So their goal is to be happy in the work environment and they see a beneficial place. And they're being smart about it because they're presenting the thing that there is a goal. But what is a byproduct of that goal in a work environment? Earning money and building job skill in order for you and work ethic in order for you to grow. So it's a smart goal because it's more than one bird with one stone. Like that's my understanding of like smart is. It's like measurable. I love measurability. Like I always count everything. You can ask my friends, especially James. When I was going to the gym for a long time, I was like, "How many reps? How many reps? Count my reps or whatever." He's like, "I don't count reps." And I was like, "Oh my gosh!" It's like just recently I've swapped over to I don't count reps. When it starts hurting, I'm like, "Oh okay, 10 more." But
Yep.
that's the difference, right? That's the difference what we're doing to our bodies and our mentality, right? Like today, first time I've done pull ups in forever. I was doing chin ups. We're doing it for just bicep exercise. It's a really good warm up. And I think I did like 8 or 9 the first time, but I have never done over 7 before straight. But I wasn't counting. I don't really know what I did, but I was like, wow, I felt really good doing that. So, like in the moment of measurable, is when you present a measurable. Okay. If you have a plan, right, it should be smart, right? Once you figured out how to kill more than one bird with one stone, then you should measure that ability to be able to build killing one bird with one stone. Or once you have that stone that has killed multiple birds, what will you do with that skill after that? Are you going to make it more birds with less stones? Or are you going to stack birds? You're going to stack stones or something. Like you need to have a week by week, month by month, year by year plan. Like James and I, we both have a 10-year, 5-year, 2-year, and 1-year plan. We all know what we want to achieve. It's like the 10-year plan is like the dream. That's the goal, right? But the 1, 2, and 5 are just like, oh, I want to make sure that I'm capable of doing this by that timeline, right? And so that sort of leaks into T. But James, go ahead and like, what's A?
A is an attainable goal, and this is something that um, I, I I I understand, but I even would like to put the unattainable in front of it. Which
Mm-hmm.
that's just me personally. Like for most people, it's like I think there's a range that you can make a goal, right? Something that's extremely easy, something that's moderately difficult but achievable, and something that sounds impossible but may have a slight chance of achieving it. I think for most people, they set their goals super easy and then they pass it and they don't want to move the goalpost. And that's just my opinion. But I think a lot of people set a moderately difficult goal that they can achieve, and some might, but most may get close, which I think is a much better way of setting a goal, because something that is hard to achieve but is still achievable. Something that I used to do was set a goal that was so far um, like almost too, not impossible, but so difficult that it'd be very hard for me to get even close. And I feel like that pushed me. That can still be difficult to work as a goal.
I wouldn't necessarily say that it wasn't impossible for you to achieve, but would you achieving that goal in that season of your life, would you trying to achieve that goal push you to the point where you were unbalanced and it was ruining your order of priorities, right? Because the order of priority is very important for like life in general. Like for me, like it's my sleep is the most important thing, and then it's the gym currently, and then or like being able to teach myself, and then it's work, and then it's friends and family, and then it's work. Like work is my last priority right now. It won't be in my future when I want to go achieve my real estate license, become a real estate agent. That's going to be higher, right? It won't be as high as sleep because I know if I don't set myself up with sleep and food, then I cannot do my job the way that I needed to do, right?
Sure.
But the gym will come after I have figured out how to do what I'm doing, Um, that's sort of why I'm wanting to do the marathon training for that. But so something else measurable too. It shouldn't be something that's so easy that you're comfortable by it.
Correct.
It should be something that you are uncomfortable by,
Yes.
but in a thing that is attainable. It's okay if it's a stupid easy thing. If your goal is to wake up at 5 a.m., your whole smart plan, your dream is to wake up at 5 a.m. every single day, then why is that smart? Two birds, one stone. You're more productive in your morning, but you have to set yourself up, right? So now you have to make it measurable, right? Also, okay, like the SMART goal is also two birds with one stone too, because you have to go to bed earlier to wake up earlier. So you're helping yourself with that. So not only does it have the effect of you waking up earlier, it also has the cause of you going to bed earlier, right? You going to bed earlier will help you in general. So now for the measurable thing again is, or sorry, attainable, is that it needs to be like again something that is uncomfortable yet reachable. So you just need to build small things at a time, and then you're going to slowly get more uncomfortable. It's like making your bed. I hate making my bed because my bed is against the wall, so it's really hard for me to make my bed because I have to jump in my bed, tuck it in down the wall, and then get off and then wrinkle like take all the wrinkles out.
Yeah.
I hate it, but I'm like because it's annoying because I know it's stupid. But I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna do this though. When I wake up, I'm gonna get back from the gym, right? Because I can wake up at 5 a.m. and get out and do my Bible study and go to the gym with James and get myself set up for my day at 5 a.m. When I come back from my apartment complex at 8:39, people are leaving for work. And I'm like, you are leaving for work. And I already had a 2-hour gym session. I did my devotional with God. I've already had pre-workout, a food, and I've had a healthy conversation to start my day with someone who I consider iron to sharpen myself with. And you guys are just now leaving for work. Wow. Wow.
That is pretty crazy.
So, and then so R for relatable. So it should be something that you like be able, I guess like relatable and relativity, very similar to you, right? So like, let's say, okay, so I'm an American, like I speak English, right? The most I know about a second language is Spanish. Now let's say I'm like, oh, I want to go learn Mandarin. That is not as relatable because I do not see myself necessarily going to a country that speaks primarily Mandarin. I do not see myself needing that. So if I am doing that thing, am I really helping myself? But that goes back to the SMART goal, right? It goes back to the SMART. Is this killing two birds with one stone, right? I know the most about Spanish. I would say I'm about a quarter fluent from 3 years of studying when I was in high school that I never really lost, but I also never really nurtured to continue to grow in. I was sort of hit like a block and it stopped me. Like conjugations really killed me. And then I never really achieved that, past that. And I have a goal that I want to do that, but I do not have a discipline set up in order for me to do, like to grow from that. So anyway, moving on. So then T is timeline. How will you grow in that timeline, right? It's like, again, or with the measurable thing, it should be a week by week, a day by day, a month by month plan to achieve your goal. Our goal is 10 years out. That's our dream. That's the goal, right?
Yeah.
But I have a goal of my 1 year plan, and I have a goal of my 2 year plan and my 5 year plan. And when I hit that 1 year plan, I'm going to reassess my next 1 year. And when I hit that 2 year plan, I'm going to reassess my next 2 years. And it's going to be continually growing until that 10-year dream wasn't even there in the first place, man. Like there was a episode, sorry, a YouTube short. That's what it's called, a YouTube short. And it was like, who's your hero? And they said your hero should be you 10 years out from now.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, that's dumb. You from 10 years out from now, you can't look at that, right? And then he was like, but you in 10 years, like let's say you're 20 and you're like, I want to be this man when I'm 30, right? You become 30 and he's like, it's like, oh, I achieved that. He said, no, frick that. It's not that you achieved that thing. It's like, okay, this is what I'm gonna be like when I'm 40. He hit the goal. The dream no longer became the dream. The dream became the goal because as he progressed himself, the dream got bigger and bigger and bigger. Not because it was unattainable or because his original goal was to be the best 60-year-old man, because he couldn't be the best 60-year-old man if he wasn't the best 50-year-old. He couldn't be the best 50-year-old if he wasn't the best 40-year-old, and so on and so forth. Like, I'm not going to go learn how to run 100 miles until I go do a marathon because I haven't done one of those yet.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So oftentimes, a lot of these things start with a dream. You got to start with something that you were wanting so bad. So let's put it in a smaller scale or perspective. Let's just say, picture yourself as a 12-year-old, can't drive yet, and your dream is to mow, let's just say 15 yards a week, which is a lot. That's a lot.
Is that a dream? I feel like that's a audacious dream, like a businessman dream.
Okay, okay. Let's narrow it down to 5.
Okay.
Say he's doing his. Let's just say he's only doing his own property.
Got you.
His goal is 5.
Okay.
Or no, sorry, that's his dream. His dream is 5.
Wait, his dream is to do work.
His dream is to do 5 a week so that he can make that money.
Oh, okay.
So his dream is to make the money from it, I guess.
Got you. I'm following now. I'm following.
So he would then need to make a timeline of saying, okay, there's like what 3.5 to 5 months in Ohio in Ohio year.
No, I mean when I was mowing lawns like 7 months out of the year.
It depends on what people want and stuff, but yeah, I agree. So it varies. So now he's a timeline. So let's just say he's on month 1 of, let's just say 5 months, make it easy. Okay. On month 1 of 5, let's just say he has one lawn he's mowing. His timeline, I think a really achievable timeline for him to do would be like, I want to pick up 1 more lawn per month, which should be incredibly easy. But let's just say that was his goal. Month 2, doing 2 lawns a month. Month 3, 3 lawns a month. And before you know it, he's cruising. So now his goal has moved from, all right, I'm going to do 5 in one summer to either next summer, I'm going to do 10 or 20. And how do I scale this? And how do I do this? And then he gets
growing that dream. And the dream has the byproduct of 2 birds with 1 stone.
Yes.
He's good at mowing lawns and he has a dream to do this service. But the actual dream is the money that he'll take from that and be able to turn into things, right? So, like, something that James and I really share in our ideology of achieving our dreams is, so like, okay, like imagine it's like a pyramid. At the very top, you have dream. That is the pinnacle of success. That's the gold cap, right? That's the thing that you want the most. That's why you're doing this thing, right?
Yes.
But then the bottom platform, the biggest one, is disciplines. You have to set disciplines that will help set yourself up for success to achieve the next step, which is goals. And in order for you to achieve those goals, you have to have those disciplines. But those goals are set by what? The next step, timeline. So if you go in order, disciplines, goals, timeline, you will achieve your dreams, right? So a really good thing, again, of like if we were to like use the example again of waking up at 5 a.m., right? So like James and I, we both had a dream of waking up at 5 a.m. If you had told me 3 years ago I was waking up at 5 a.m. to read my Bible, have pre-workout oatmeal, sit there for 15 minutes and relax myself, I'd like wake up and then go to the gym at 6, I would have slapped you in the face. I'm like, you're stupid. Because it's like two years ago, I was going to the gym like early, like the earliest I was willing to go, 6:30, right? But I lived 10 minutes away and I'd wake up at 6:15. Wake up at 6:15, hit pre-workout, hit my car. It was winter. I'd let it sit there for 5 minutes and it'd be a 2-minute drive to get to the gym. And I would always beat my buddy because my buddy was not ready that time, right? But like I was skipping. I had no disciplines. Like I was going to bed later than I was supposed to do. When I was waking up, I wasn't helping myself set up for success. I would just show up like, oh, I'm at the gym. I'm not awake, but I'm going to the gym, you know? But I said, now I have disciplines. I try to not work past 9 p.m. at my store. And my goal is to be asleep by 10:30. If I'm asleep by 10:30, so, okay, it's like with real estate and stocks, it's not about when you buy. Sorry, it's not about when you sell. So, AKA, it's not about when you wake up, but it's about when you buy. If I buy low, it will historically, if the market is correct, and that stock that you specifically are buying or that house that you're buying in that neighborhood will increase, right? But everyone's always worried about dropping, but you can make money off of a drop more than you can a rise sometimes, because the biggest room for measurable like opportunity is in the drop, right? But that's a different conversation for a different time. But we set disciplines to help us achieve the things that we want. And so the discipline help us set the goal. Like, so the dream is to be more productive in the morning and to become a successful person, right? So the discipline was, I'm going to set myself up by eating better, getting myself asleep sooner, and setting one alarm to wake up at 5 a.m., which gives me enough time and pressure to do that thing that I want to do. Now, the goal from that discipline is to have a healthier body, to be able to spend that extra time. Like, I can listen to an audiobook for 2 hours while cleaning my house, doing my dishes, and whatever. And my high productive self time, my self productivity time, is in the morning. I'm listening to a book and cleaning my house. Like right now, I'm wrapping presents. But like that's the goal, right? To be productive while nobody else is being like productive. People are
Yeah.
waking up at 10 to go to work at 11. I woke up at 5. Nice. I'm 5 hours ahead of you. Get in line, bro. But then the timeline, right? So the goal, like the timeline, is for ourselves that has shaped into more of like what will it be in different seasons, right? So my current season and James' current season in the gym is bulking, right? Our current season right now is James is not in school, so we're doing more podcasts.
I'm on winter break. I'm in school.
That's right. My bad. He's on winter break. And but my timeline will shift because I'm going to go get my real estate license. I'm going to train for a marathon. I'm going to change my work schedule up, and then my timeline will change. My dream is still the same, but my dream wasn't the same dream I had 2 months ago. And that dream wasn't the same dream I had 2 months ago before that. My dream is to be an independent. Okay, I mean, I guess I'm still working with a brokerage, but to be a successful real estate agent that does it full time while maintaining the physical attributes that I want to do and pursue outside. So my drive and my desire is to be a successful person inside of this business, and it will give me the freedom to do other things I desire, like running a marathon, wanting to go hike a mountain in the middle of the Colorados or something. I don't know, going to a different country. Why the heck not? Oh, learning how to do kickboxing, right?
Yes, for sure.
James and I will probably transition to a time where we won't be going to the gym as often, but we will be picking up kickboxing.
Just double shifts, bro. Morning shift and night shift.
You're right. That is totally possible.
Morning workout.
So something else we'd like to talk about after this too is how to build a schedule, right? Like hours wasted in a week is something I'm very passionate about, right? So go ahead, James. You got
it. Yeah. Building a schedule is super important, and I'm a huge advocate for this. And I think it's naturally just part of who I am. I'm a natural planner. But building a schedule at the very basics is saying, here's what's most important in a week, and here's how those are going to get done. And then if I have time for anything outside of that, this is when the ideal times of those would be. So you can easily say, I look at a schedule as my backup plan. It's like, okay, I've subconsciously, so I've made my schedule at the beginning of the week, and then I have a subconscious like plan of, okay, this is on this day. But if I ever forget or if I need a refresh, boom, pull up my either if you have a journal or your app on your phone, Google Calendar. Quick shout out to them, love that. You can see day by day what you need to do, and it's just nice. So how I schedule my week, okay, most important right now is a period of time for me where school is very important to get out of the way, to graduate, to get a degree. So I'm scheduling plenty of time for not only in-class times, but I'm scheduling blocks of study time because that's super important for me to be able to say, this is dedicated time for me to learn and not for me to be distracted. It's easy for me when I have a block of time that's not scheduled for anything for me to kind of get off task. But if I schedule this before and I'm like, this is for this specific thing, then I'm like, I can totally do this. And maybe it's just like maybe it's just a certain thing, the way I think, but I really love that. And you got to have a reason why. Like, what's like the reason why behind building a schedule is crucial. Okay, you don't want to just build a schedule just because you're like, oh, I've heard someone say that. You're building a schedule because you're saying, my time is valuable to me, and I'm scheduling events in my week because I value the way I spend my time. I value the experiences I'm going to have. I value what I'm going to do. If you don't value it, then don't make a schedule. Just be to be an average Joe who's not doing much, but a schedule is so, so important. Aiden, you want to talk about how hours in a week work and how easy it is to waste them?
Well, 100%. Like, I would greatly say the biggest thing that wastes your time is 100% social media,
Mm,
right?
yeah.
Like, if like a lot of people have iPhones, and I know that a lot of people don't, or whatever, but those every phone has a ability to track your screen time and where that goes, right? So I want you guys to find that in your settings, right? Google it, YouTube it, I don't care. Click off, pause this, go do that, please. And I want you to look at your phone history of what your screen time is. So like my screen time on average in a week is 2.5 hours per day on an average, right? Now days that I work, okay, my screen time is only days that I work, my screen time is only 90 minutes,
Yeah.
right? Like it's like 30 minutes when I wake up. It's an hour before I go to bed. It's when I used it throughout the day, when I was on break, using it at work, texting someone. Like I'm literally like barely on my phone. But like I don't necessarily have a statistic for the average Joe and how much they spend on their phone, but I guarantee you that most people are spending upwards of 6 hours a day
Yeah.
on their social media.
Yep.
So now that you've looked at what is probably the biggest area of opportunity for yourself, I want to break it down in numbers, right? So pull out your calculator again. I'm a numbers guy. I like to count. Sign me up. I could be an accountant in a different life. Let me tell you what. But okay, so if you have 24 hours in a day times 7 days in a week, okay, 168 hours, okay. Now I want to schedule you 8 hours a day to fall asleep, okay, to fall asleep, stay asleep. Like I like 2 REM cycles, and that for me is 6.5 to 7 hours. That's what my body is, right? But I'm gonna schedule 8 because I'm a nice guy, and I want you to work towards that if you're not sleeping that way, right? So what's 8 times 7? 56. So minus 56, we're now at 112 hours per week. Let's say you work a 40-hour a week job. Let's say you are, I want to give you an hour and a tack. Sorry, I want to give you an hour and a half. Well, I guess an hour wind up and an hour wind down in a week, you know? So that's minus 14, right? That's 1 hour, 2 hours per day times two, sorry, times 7, 14 equals 58 hours total after work, sleep, wind up, and wind down time. Okay. Now let's divide that by 7. Okay. That is 8.2 hours per day. Now, okay. Now let's say you're not an average Joe. Let's say you spend in travel time and whatever the heck 2 hours a week at the gym. Sorry, 2 hours a day at the gym, 5 days a week, right? That's 10 hours, right? So if you're at 8.2, that puts you at 6.2. Okay. So if you're at 6.2 hours per day, right? Okay. What was that average again for how many hours people spend in a day? I mean, I don't have a statistic for you.
We're saying around 6.
That's 6 hours right there, right?
Correct.
I'm not saying you need to use those 6 hours. I'm saying you need to, like, it's not about using the full 6 hours because you do need to give yourself time to be yourself, to rely, to relax, to enjoy your life, right? I like to give myself an hour and a half of my day to enjoy myself. Okay, so if you take an hour and a half out, that's still 4.5 hours every day. Okay, let's say you spend a half hour to drive to and from work. Okay, that's 4 hours a day on average, right? Let's say I don't know. Let's say I mean you're married or you have a relationship and you spend like 2 hours a day with somebody else, right? Then that's 2 hours still left in an average day. I am not in a relationship currently. Newsflash. I go into the gym a lot more than everybody else. I work 50 to 60 hours a week. I have a dedicated time with a Bible study and my friends with like this podcast or working out or whatever. And I only have 2.5 hours on average per day, not taking out time for myself. So whenever I'm like, oh, I have all these things I need to do, I'm sitting still, I need to do something, I have to remind myself it's okay to not do something right now. Because if I'm always doing something, I'll never be able to have the energy and the time to be able to do the things that I want. And that's the importance of priority.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's really good. And if there's one takeaway you can get from all that is the least you can do is just be aware of where you're at and where you're spending your time. If you can be aware of that and it can surprise you and you can be more knowledgeable about all these things, it'd be so good, you know? And maybe you think you know some things, maybe you'll be surprised. But at the end of the day, this is super valuable information to be like, this is where my time's going. Now that I'm aware of it, maybe you'll be extra cautious and be like, okay, I do need rest. And that's really good.
Yeah. So
thank you for listening to today's episode, guys. Really appreciate you. We'd hope if you guys want to send us an email, highvaluehustling@gmail.com. We'd love to hear you. What are your tips on building a schedule? What are your biggest time wasters in a day? We'd love to know. Hit us up with an email. It's been your boy, Aidan and James.
Aidan and James.
Have a great day,
High Value
guys.
Hustling.